তোমরা তোমাদের কাগজে দুইটা ইকুয়েশন লেখো, Q1 is equal to 60 minus Q2 by 2, এবং সেটার নিচে লেখো Q2 is equal to 60 minus Q1 by 2. Right? All of you write this. These are the two equations that you have to solve simultaneously. Now, I am sure you all know how to solve equations simultaneously. How many equations are there? এখানে কয়টা equation আছে?
2.
And how many unknowns are there? কয়টা unknown?
2.
কি unknown গুলো কি?
Q1 and Q2.
Q2, right? So you have two equations, you have two unknowns. You can solve this, right? So you can solve it in any way you want. I solve it by plugging one equation into the other, right? I find that's the easiest way of solving it, but you can solve it in any way you wish, right? তোমাদের কাছে যেটা সুবিধা মনে হয়, you do that. So here is how I solved it. You have Q1 is equal to 60 minus half Q2, right? So Q1 is equal to 60 minus half into, Q2 এর বদলে 60 minus Q1 by 2 বসাই দিছি. So I've plugged Q2 into Q1, okay? Can you see this? And then I simplified, so Q1 is equal to 60 minus 30 plus Q1 by 4. So now I can solve this equation for Q1, or 3 by 4 Q1, যখন Q1 by 4, I take it to the left-hand side, I have Q1 minus Q1 by 4, which is 3 by 4 Q1. That is equal to 60 minus 30, which is equal to 30. So এখান থেকে I can solve for Q1 star, and Q1 star is equal to 30 into 4 divided by 3, which is equal to 40. Similarly, Q2 star is equal to 40. Okay, so both my Q1 star and Q2 star are equal and happen to be 40. So in equilibrium, Nash equilibrium, each herder grazes 40 sheep on the commons. Okay, now we could have solved this problem. We could have solved this problem graphically as well. How? So look at this diagram. On the vertical axis, I have Q2. On the horizontal axis, I have Q1. And I am plotting BR1 and BR2. Okay? আমাকে এখন একজন বলো, what was BR1? BR1 এর equation কি ছিল?
So Q1 is equal to 60 minus
Q1 is equal to
60 minus Q2 by 2.
Okay. Okay. So Q1 is equal to 60 minus Q2 by 2. এটা ছিল BR1. Okay. So Q1 is equal to 60 minus Q2 by 2. So যখন Q2 এর value 0, যখন Q2 এর মান 0, তখন what is the value of Q1? If Q1 is equal to no, Q1 is equal to 60 minus Q2 by 2.
কি হবে তখন Q1 এর value?
So যখন Q2 এর মান 0, তখন what is the value of Q1? 60, right?
Yes.
60. Okay? আর যখন Q1 এর মান 0, তখন what is the value of Q2?
60.
যখন Q1 এর মান 0, what is the value of Q2? যদি Q1 is equal to 60 minus Q2 by 2 হয়, তখন এবং Q1 এর মান যখন 0 হয়, then what is the value of Q2?
120, sir.
120, right? So you have 60 and you have 120. When you join this, it's a straight line, the equation of a straight line. So then you get your BR1 as a function of Q2, right? So you এইভাবে তোমরা করে ফেলো. Similarly, you can draw the straight line for BR2, right? Where they intersect will give you 40 and 40. Okay, the intersection point will give you 40 and 40. So that is the solution, graphical solution to your Nash equilibrium problem. Okay, so this is how you can solve them either graphically or you can solve them geometrically. Sometimes, which is easier? It depends. Normally, if you have sometimes if you have three linear equations, the graphical solution is often easier as opposed to the algebraic solution. Anything beyond three, if it is linear equations and you have four linear equations, then always do it graphically. ঠিক আছে? Four equations simultaneously solve kora is very time consuming. Then it's probably easier to just draw the graphs. If they're straight lines, you draw the graphs and you read the values off of the graph. But you can do any one. Okay. Let's move on. Okay. Now, pay attention to this slide in particular. Even though we have calculated a Nash equilibrium, it actually does not represent the best use of the commons. At the beginning of the lecture, তোমরা কি বলছিলা আমাকে যে ওই common resource, that common property, if you have that common property, would it be better to graze more sheep or less sheep?
Less sheep.
Less sheep. So we just calculated a Nash equilibrium, right? She Nash equilibrium, what's the total number of sheep that are being grazed on the common?
80.
80, 40 plus 40, right? Each herder brings 40 sheep to the common. And 40 plus 40 is 80. So 80 sheep are grazing on the common. A result ta mone rakhba. Now, instead of calculating the optimal best responses separately, what did we do in the previous slide? We maximized each herder's payoff function separately, right? We did a del U1 by del Q1 and we did a del U2 by del Q2, okay? So this was a separate action. Amra separately calculate na kore, why don't we set up a joint profit function or a joint value function? Joint hole ki hobe? Q1 plus Q2, right? Joint means what? Q1 plus Q2, shobai mile. So Q1 plus Q2 times the value of Q1 plus Q2. So tomar jodi Q1 plus Q2 sheep thake, then what is the total value? Q1 plus Q2 multiplied by the per unit value of sheep. So your value function will be Q1 plus Q2 into V of Q1 plus Q2. Okay? So you can either maximize this with respect to Q1 or you could maximize this with respect to Q2. If you do it for either of them, you will actually get the same result. So let us maximize this value function with respect to Q1. So what is your value? Your value function is Q1 plus Q2 into 120 minus Q1 minus Q2. Now, তোমাদের সবার হাতে কাগজ কলম আছে। I want you to remove the brackets. So 120 minus Q1 minus Q2 ke tomra jodi Q1 plus Q2 de gun koro, what is the final result?